Welcome to this special analysis from Rungta IAS Academy. Today, we're going to deconstruct the ideology of a really pivotal figure in our freedom struggle, Subhash Chandra Bose. We often see Subhash Chandra Bose, or Netaji, as a military leader. We see the uniform, but the man behind that uniform was a profound political and philosophical thinker. And that brings us to the central theme of our discussion today, which is this paradox. How did an idealist, someone rooted in Vedanta, evolve into a revolutionary pragmatist? Now, this is a crucial analytical point for your mains paper. Okay, so let's dive into this with a clear structure so we can really build our understanding for the exam. We'll look at Bose the thinker, his journey from Vedanta to dialectics, his idea of Samyavada, his blueprint for India, and finally how to analyze all this for your exam. So first things first, we absolutely must understand the philosophical foundation of his actions, and his journey really begins with Vedanta. Initially, Bose was deeply influenced by Shankaracharya's philosophy, but he ran into a problem. The concept of the world as Maya, or an illusion, just wasn't compatible with the needs of a revolutionary. I mean, how can you fight for the material world if you believe it's not real? So what did he do? He discarded that traditional view of Maya. And what's really interesting here is how he reinterpreted reality as Leela, or a divine play. This shift made action not just possible, but a moral and a spiritual duty. And this quote just brilliantly illustrates his evolution, doesn't it? He then synthesized this Indian spiritualism with Western Hegelian dialectics, the process of thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. This became his framework for understanding progress. All right, let's move on and see how this all builds into his unique political doctrine. Because this philosophical foundation, it directly informed his political ideology, which he called Samyavada. Now, aspirants should really note this term. Samyavada was not some imported ideology. Bose argued quite strongly that it was a product of India's own philosophical evolution, a doctrine of harmony. So the crucial point is this. He viewed both fascism and communism as just stages in a larger dialectical process. But he absolutely refused to just copy-paste them onto Indian soil. He was searching for an Indian solution. This table gives you a really clear framework for your mains answers. Look at the differences. Samyavada's goal was synthesis and harmony, rooted in Indian thought, which is a world away from the conflict-based foreign ideologies. Okay, now let's connect this philosophy to his practical plans for a post-independence India. You see, for Bose, political freedom was just the starting line, just the threshold. His definition of freedom was, sweeping. It wasn't just about the political transfer of power. He was talking about a complete and total national reconstruction. He actually outlined this two-step plan in his famous Haripura presidential address back in 1938. This really demonstrates his focus on building a modern, socialist state. And this, of course, brings us to one of his more controversial ideas. He believed that to prevent chaos and to implement this rapid reconstruction, India would need a temporary, strong, authoritarian government. Now, it is absolutely vital for your analysis to place this view in its historical context. The 1930s was an era where these kinds of models were being used for massive economic and cultural changes all over the world. So, why does all this matter for you? Well, let's distill this into some actionable points for your preparation. This is a classic type of question you could see in GS Paper 1. Your answer must connect his Vedantic roots, his use of Hegelian dialectics, and then show how all of that led to the formulation of Samyavada. Then, in an interview, you might face a question like this. Here, you'll need a very nuanced response. You have to acknowledge the historical context without taking a simplistic stand, for or against. So, here are the key frameworks from our discussion today. Think about using these bullet points to structure your notes and your revision on this very important topic. And we'll leave you with this final thought. Bose's life and his work, they force us to consider this fundamental question, which remains incredibly relevant even today. Something to think about. All the best for your preparation.